People, let's get together. Stop all this fussing and fighting. Let's love one another. You gotta help your mother, help your father, help your brothers, help your sisters, help your neighbors and your friends. We are one people, one nation, one destiny. Everybody, y'all. One people, one nation, one destiny. Yeah, yeah.
So, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
Yeah, my name is Jasmine Caldata Francis C. Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cop, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by 1 vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
All right. A pleasant good evening to everyone. All Guyanese in the diaspora. Today is January 27, 2024, and I just want to welcome everyone to Over to You. I hope everyone is doing well. I want to thank everyone first and foremost for allowing us to come into your homes on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Please go ahead and share the link and like the program. Welcome everyone. I know some of you guys are still excited. I hope you guys are excited like I am after last week's rally, because I'm pretty excited. I'm very happy. I thought it was an excellent rally. And now on to the next week. We have to keep working. We have to stay focused. And, there was a lot of things that happened this week, but one of the things I want to touch on, just quickly and for a short moment, it's the budget. And, the whole format with this budget process, I don't like it. It's not something that is favorable, I feel, to the people of Guyana. I feel like if we put the carriage before the horse when we do these budgets, I agree that the government side should be allowed to read the budget, and once the budget is read, before it's passed, I feel like if the arguments should happen before the budget is passed, not the budget passed and then we argue after. Why are we arguing after something has already been passed? You know, we need to argue and bring our points before it's passed. That way, you know, if there is adjustments to be made, because I would expect if we are in a democracy in Guyana, it should be that both sides are agreeing to these things. That's why I feel like if we need to kind of change our politics in Guyana somewhat, you know, especially when we're dealing with oil and gas and these larger issues, you should need, you know, bipartisan votes from both sides. Like, you should set a threshold, maybe 60%, you know, where you allow the other side to come back and say, well, okay, we would give you this if you, like, say, give a stimulus package to the people of Guyana. We should allow these kind of talks to happen. We should allow these type of arguments to come to the table. Not a party with a one-seat majority just come and lay down a budget and that's the budget. The budget was planned and put together on everything by just that party or by the ruling party, and the opposition party does not really get to scrutinize it, you know, properly and put forth their arguments. You know, I feel like if the politics, you know, needs to change, you know, because this last budget that the PPPC would have put down there, man, it's shameful. You know, they put down a budget like if, you know, they're controlling a country that doesn't have people. It's just a landmass and they are building out the landmass. It's just all about infrastructure. It's not about people. And this is something that needs to change. It really does need to change, and it starts with respecting our Constitution. And I feel like if the Constitution of Guyana is not respected, because government is put in place by the people to serve the people first, and everything else comes after. The PPPC would have looked past the Constitution and forgotten about the people. You know, I know they get their gripes when you speak about these things and they bumps raise up. But you cannot be so obvious and expect not to be checked or criticized. And if you're going to do such things, you have to be open to the constructive criticism that's going to come along with such actions. You know, and this has been happening since the first two budgets that they had, or first three budgets, because I think this was the fourth budget that the PPPC would have had. And they keep doing the same thing over and over again. We keep talking about the people of Guyana, and the install regime keeps bringing forth these budgets with nothing in place for the people of Guyana. You know, and this needs to change. This is something that really, really needs to change. We need to start understanding the importance of human capital, you know, in Guyana. And I'm not just saying this for the PPPC, I'm saying this for the opposition also. Because I find a lot of times people act like if they are lone rangers. You know, they are working for themselves. If you're working for yourself, then you shouldn't be an MP. You should not be an MP. If you don't respect your leader or the leader of your party, you shouldn't be an MP either. You have to respect your leader. And if you're an MP and you want to run for the position that the leader holds, don't operate from under a coconut shell. Come out and be transparent. Let everybody know your intentions. Be transparent. This way you give the people, your constituents, an opportunity to examine all the candidates across the board. Not just that alone, you have to get out there, you have to get on the ground with the people. You can't want to be a leader and you're not getting on the ground with people and making those connections and networking with the people and these kind of things. You can't be a leader on somebody else's work. You have got to put in your own work. You've got to get on the ground with the people. You've got to get on the shows, face the music, answer the questions. And also, you have to be prepared for constructive criticism, and a lot of it. And Aubrey Norton has gotten a lot of that. So anyone who wants to sit in his chair, you have to be prepared for that. You have to be able to handle that, because if you can't handle it on a national level, you definitely will not be able to represent Guyana and handle it on an international level. So these are things that we need to think about, from the leader right down. It just cannot be politics as normal. We have got to lift the standards in Guyana. We cannot switch from the PPPC and switch to a new government in 2025, and we're continuing, on the same trajectory. No, we need to see change. We need to see change in our standards. We need to see change in the services that government are providing for the people. We need to see government working on things like cost of living, old age pension. Old age pension was not addressed in the last budget. $3,000 raise on old age pension is not addressing the issue. It is just saying, look, we did this for them. $100 a day or a week or whatever it's going to equate to. That's not sufficient. That is not going to suffice our elderly. We have a Guyana now because of those pensioners, because of those retirees. They have worked hard. Okay? We are now in a more modern time. You're able to, see things better. There's more happening. This is a time of the internet and the computers and everything. But before that, it was our grandparents, our foreparents, who would have prepared Guyana for us. We should honor them. We should respect them. And we should not forget the sacrifices that they would have made. I have said this before. They read the newspapers more than most of us, right? Because they're not accustomed to the computers, so they read the newspapers. They know that Guyana is an oil-producing nation. They know that Guyana is one of the richest nations per capita for individuals. They know that Guyana has the fastest growing economy in the world. But yet, they see no improvement when it comes to care for themselves. Everyone looks past them. Everyone in the government is just looking at how much money they can get for themselves and how many tall buildings they can put up. But at some point, those tall buildings has to be accounted for. And it's going to be your salary, measure your salary over the years, measuring up to the assets that you have. If you would have made investments, we need to see where the investments would have yielded those amounts that you was able to amass to put up these massive structures. So, you guys need to be careful. Don't feel you could run out to China and run out to these places and put it under their names, and you have the buildings in Guyana. it's going to be tracked. It's going to be easily tracked. If there's money moved out of the country to foreign nations, it will be tracked also. Because Guyana is showing a propensity. It is showing that there may be a liquidity issue in Guyana. And there should not be one. There should not be one. People should be able to be paid on time. Monies in the banks should be available to individuals when they go to withdraw. The banks should have liquid cash on hand for people who wants to make withdrawals. Banking industry, I have to keep a close eye there to see what's going on. But we need to do we have some work to do. We have some work to do. We have some work to do when it comes down, to our pensioners, our teachers, our nurses. Teachers are the ones. For the most part, they're the third parent. Sometimes they're the second parent because there are many households that have children that are living with a single parent. And when that is the case, the teacher is the one who has to step up. And it's ironic because I would have spoken to quite a few teachers. And they indicate to me the things that they face on a day-to-day basis on the job. Some of them have to buy lunch to the children. Some of them have to buy breakfast to the children. Sometimes it's every day, sometimes it's every other day. I have a teacher that tells me, she has to do this for this child because this child is actually doing really, really well in school. And she doesn't want the child to be working on an empty stomach. How can kids study on an empty stomach? With all these young people being edified, being prepared for the future, where is Guyana going to be? Are we going to import all our workers? Are we going to start importing people or people migrating to Guyana and that's where we're going to go? They're going to be called the citizens of Guyana. We have people. We have born and bred people that are living in Guyana that has needs. But the government continues to overlook them. The PPPC never intended, their vision was never for Guyana to be an educated nation, never for the people of Guyana to be educated. Educated people, it's very, very difficult to dictate to a person who is educated. It is very, very difficult. But for one who is not educated, who is ignorant of a lot of issues, it is easy to dictate to that person and to tell that person, all you can be is a cane cutter, or all you can be is a security guard. It is sad. We would have lost a lot of lawyers, a lot of accountants, a lot of economists, a lot of nurses, a lot of different things across Guyana. Because what? The individuals were never empowered. They were never encouraged. They were never given that opportunity to be successful. And Barry Jagdeo sits there and he talks about the PNC. You can't talk about the PNC, Barry Jagdeo. It was the PNC leader, the late great Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, who would have made education from nursery to tertiary in Guyana free of cost. Why? I asked the question why? Because he was a leader with a vision. He wasn't a leader that felt threatened by his people. But that is what you are. You are threatened. You feel threatened by the people. And rightfully so, Mr. Barry Jagdeo. You're nothing. You're not smart. You've been at the helm of Guyana for more than 23 years, 23 plus 3. Look at the state of our country. You got a few buildings going up, some highways and bridges being done. And then you got critic driving around in a car. Oh my goodness, look at development. What are people talking about? So ignorant. Development starts and ends with your people. That's who you need to develop. Your people. Had you been doing so, our nurses would not have been fleeing Guyana. And then the installed president is complaining about nurses fleeing. What type of raises have you guys given to them? What type of respect have you guys shown to them? Have you guys shown them any appreciation for what they do? Absolutely not. Those nurses, sometimes one nurse to 6 patients. 6 patients to 1 nurse. You know, but you guys don't think about that. You guys get to sit up in your little penthouse and cock up your legs. And you guys just live. You guys get to take out your pictures at Christmas time with your families and you guys just post away. Because that's the big life. You guys get to make a budget of $1.14 trillion with nothing for the Guyanese people. And you guys throw back. And then the little boy Ramson comes out and he says that Guyanese are doing good. Because they're sending things out to the diaspora, to their family. So it shows that they're doing well. Well, Ramson, I don't know where you got that from. Or I don't know which Guyanese you're talking about. Because the ones that I know, a lot of them are very poor, living in poverty. Some of them don't even know, where the 3 square meals a day is going to come from. But people like you and your fat cat president, you guys could get to sit down without even thinking about it and eat 4 square meals a day. Things have got to change in Guyana. Things have got to change. It's a country that is rich in resources. We need to have the right people in the right places managing those resources. And I want to caution Guyanese, right? This is a note of caution. We just had a budget for $1.14 trillion. All right? I want us to keep that in the back of our heads. Because that is a possibility that could be one of the final heists by the PPPC. Statistics doesn't show that they can honestly win an election in Guyana. But my reasoning behind this caution that I want to caution Guyanese, and guys, please go ahead, share the link, like the program, please. The reason I want to caution you is because to the extent that the coalition government wins the election in 2025, which is highly possible, there are certain expectations that we have of them. But let's keep in mind, when they do move into government, right? You have to keep in mind what they find in that treasury, what they find in those accounts. Because certain things that they may have had planned that they would get done in the first 6 months in office may not be possible. If the treasury is empty, it's not going to be possible. So this is a caution to all Guyanese. You may have to exercise just a bit of patience. Just a bit of patience. Right? I felt like if the coalition of 2015 to 2020 didn't get that patience exercise, there was a lot of people that were saying money's not flowing in the country the way it should flow. Well, let me say this to you guys. You can have money flowing through a country. The question you need to ask yourself is what type of money, right? When you have all the cocaine money, all the corrupt money, all the money laundering money flowing through your country, you can't look at that and call it prosperity. What the coalition did, they weed out all that nonsense. And what you guys was looking at is the Guyana economy naked. That's what it looks like. That's what it looked like. And that is what you needed to see in order to start building the country the correct way, the legal way. Right? There's legal ways in doing things, and there is illegal ways in doing the same thing. We want to do things the right way in Guyana. We want to move our country the right way and in the right direction. I call on all Guyanese. I call on all my brothers and sisters, all 6 ethnic groups. Guyana belongs to us. We have a lot of natural resources. Let's come together and let's build our country the correct way, where all Guyanese would get an opportunity to move away from the poverty that they're living in now to a good sense of prosperity. That is what I would like to see. And that is what I'm sure most of you would like to see. For a country with about 800,000 people, and with just the revenue that we are making from oil, Guyanese should be living 10 times better than they are right now. 10 times better. The inflation is through the roof. The cost of living is extremely high. Oh, you telling me in this budget, You couldn't forego something and be like, hey, you know what? Let's pick that up next year. Or whatever is there, let's use what's there. Let's do a stimulus to the people of Guyana. Let's do a $250,000 stimulus to each home in Guyana. It's not a heavy lift. It is not a heavy lift. And let's push for all adults to have electronic banking. The lawlessness that happened with the COVID cash grants, where you have cars driving around with money, where do you hear of that in this modern time? Where do you hear of that? Should be able to do cash transfers, man. Everybody should be aligned with a banking institution. But when you drive money around and you're sharing money out, is optimum opportunity to steal. There's optimum opportunity for corruption. And that is what the PPPC is all about. Imagine we still have people with those COVID pink slips waiting for their cash grants. Years would have passed. They're still waiting. We have lines upon lines of Guyanese waiting for a house lot. But then the rich and famous, the external forces, can come and they can get house lots along highways. And they can get whatever they want. Why? Because they bring what the PPPC likes to the table. They bring money. They can come and they can push money and get acres of land in Guyana. While the normal born and bred Guyanese have to stand online and wait for years. Some of them die waiting. The PPPC is a heartless government. They have no care for their people. They have no respect for their people. They don't treat their pensioners with any sort of dignity and respect. Nothing. And these are the things, these are the issues we need to be looking at. Now, I want to touch a bit on the Guyana Elections Commission. I want to touch a bit on the Guyana Elections Commission. When last has anyone on this broadcast saw Miss Claudette Singh? When last has anyone saw Miss Claudette Singh? It is quite concerning. She has not even come forward to declare last year local government elections that happened when? June 12th? She has not even come out and declare that election. Since when we're declaring elections online in Guyana? Since when? Barrett Jagdeo at his press conference is speaking on electoral matters. And you know, this is the type of behavior that would have been tolerated for years. That's why you have monstrosity that you have today. Rich people to just say what they want to say and do what they want to do. That's what you get. A Barra Jagdeo, a bona fide dictator. That's what you get. To the opposition, that narrative has to change. That narrative has to change. And while I'm on the opposition saying that that narrative has to change, the males in the opposition, please, when you go to parliament, stop having people from the PPPC side abusing your female counterparts. Yes, I'm saying it. Stop it. Okay? Stop it. It is your responsibility as males to make sure that other males from the other side is not abusing your counterparts. I'm saying it because if I was a parliamentarian, personally, once parliament was over, we would have found out what would have happened. The halls of parliament is not a place to be joking around. The halls of parliament is not a place to be abusing people. It's supposed to be a place of high respect where everybody on both sides have respect for each other. It's not a place that, you know, you guys all gather and act like a set of piglets. You all are supposed to be quote unquote leaders. Come to the table properly. You guys have been disenfranchising the Guyanese people with your behaviors. It's just atrocious across the board. Anand Prasad, Kwame McCoy. You guys can't walk across me on the street, you know. No, I'm telling you, you can't. You can't. The standards in Guyana need to change. Okay? The government, both sides of government, need to start showing respect to the people. There's a lot of self-interest. I see a lot of self-interest. Everybody's always about me, me, me. I want to do this. I want to be this. I want to be that. What about your constituency? What about the people? When you guys go in parliament and you fight and you get no policies done, nothing is done, nothing on the table for the people. But there's always something on the table for you guys. You're never short of a salary. You get paid. You get paid. And that's sad. It is sad. You know? It is sad. And I know many of you, you have children. When I say many of you, I'm not speaking about all MPs. There's some excellent MPs. We had one on just Thursday night. Miss Nima Flubes. I'll call her name. A lot of you need to take a page out of her book. A lot of you needs to take a page out of her book. Okay? Take a look at how she conducts herself. That's a leader. She gets her promotion from us. She don't promote herself. She let us promote her. That's how it works. You don't push yourself. You let the people call for you. Let your works do the talking, not your mouth. Let your works do the talking. To the leader of the opposition, Mr. Norton, there's work to be done, sir. There's work to be done. The PPPC is a very weak party. They're no good for Guyana. We have seen. We've had 3+ years of them now. We don't need to see any more of the sample. The case is already closed. There's nothing that they can do to show that they deserve to be sitting there after 2025. Nothing. Too late. Too much atrocities against the people of Guyana. Too much. Here's an opportunity for you, leader of the opposition, Aubrey Compton Norton, and I might as well go and call out the leader of the AFC, Mr. Kemaraj Ramjathan, who is the leader of the second largest party in the coalition, which is the AFC. You guys have work to do. You need to start executing. You cannot compete with the PPPC from a financial basis. You cannot. From a financial perspective, you cannot compete with them. They have all the money in the world and more behind them. But what you can do, you can rally the people. Because it is people who elect government. It's not money. Money plays a role. But it is people. Right now, the Guyanese people are punishing. There's a lot of PPPC supporters who are on the fence. Okay? And those supporters, listen, it's not about whether you support the PPPC or whether you support the PNC. This is the 21st century, man. You guys need to start thinking different. It's about you. It's about your family. It's about your children. All right? It's about your children. Come out, vote to the issues. We've already had 3.5 years of the PPPC. You see what they have for you, the people. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And yes, Miss Varney Lewis, democracy is on life support in Guyana under this PPPC regime. Back to Mr. Norton, Mr. Ramjathan. Make sure the GCOM apparatus is working correctly. If it's working correctly, it doesn't matter how much money the PPPC have. They will be voted out. People of Guyana, let's get back to some normalcy. Let's move away from the lawlessness. The only way I can see you guys putting the PPPC back there is because you're lawless. You are lawless. and not just lawless, you would be selfish. Because these loans that these guys are taking out is going to put this country, if it continues on this trajectory, it's going to make Guyana a complete failed economy like Venezuela. I think Venezuela have the largest oil reserve in the world. If they don't have the largest one, they have one of the largest ones. Look at that country from an economic perspective. Just take a look at that country. You know who did that to that country? Not its people. The government. The government. Don't let that happen to Guyana. Guyana belongs to us. Let's be an example to the rest of the world. I remember when I first started contributing on Mark Benchop programs. You know, I always say, Guyanese are a very special people. They are a very, very, very special people. They're not a people to mess with. Let's come out in our numbers come 2025. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. I will be in Guyana on the ground for the elections in 2025. And my plan is to host the show from right on the ground in Guyana. I'm a transparent person. I'm fearless. I don't hide anything from anybody. I'm fearless, man. Fearless. We need to stand up as a people. We weren't born, listen, when you're born into this world, man, should be equal opportunity for all, man. Don't allow another man that breathes just like you, eyes, nose, mouth, brain, is on this earth temporarily, just like you are, to dictate what your life is going to be like and what your family's life is going to be like. Don't allow that. Parents, I cry out to you this afternoon. Please support your children. Allow them to get an education. There is nothing as powerful as an education. To not have an education, man, is to put a child or a young woman or a young man in a very, very uncomfortable position between a rock and a very hard place. I plead with you. I know some parents are punishing to the point that they got to pull their kids out of school and set them on the corner with a little stall to sell, to try to make ends meet. How it so hurts me. How it so hurts me. And I know that it hurts many of you on this broadcast this afternoon. Because if it's one thing I can say about the listeners and the viewers of this program and the Straight Up program, is that you guys are very, very, very intelligent people. And that is what we want for the young people coming up in Guyana, who's ultimately the future of our country. They must be able to go out on the world stage and be successful. How does that happen? It happens with a good education from nursery right through university. Guyanese, let's continue to hold our heads up. The fight is on, but here we are ready. We are ready. And when I say fight, I'm not meaning a physical fight. No. We are going to make sure come 2025 that every Guyanese demonstrate that every Guyanese is given the opportunity to exercise their democratic right and vote. Vote to the issues. There's a lot of them. The government lacks in so many ways. Look at the services. GWI, Guyana Power and Light. Oh, who do you think you're serving? Animals? You're serving people. You're serving human beings. 6-hour blackout, 12-hour blackout, whole day blackout, water sometimes, low water pressure, water coming out looking like coffee. But yet, we got a budget that is $1.14 trillion that talks about infrastructure. Where are the changes? Where is the round-the-clock electricity? Where is the round-the-clock water? Where are the resources at the Georgetown Public Hospital for our nurses and doctors, to execute their duties to their patients? There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do. But we're up for it. We will not lose Guyana. I can tell you that much as I prepare to wrap up. We will not lose Guyana. Okay. Look at the turnout we had at the rally last weekend. I want to thank each and every individual that would have attended last week's rally. I want to thank all the MPs that showed up and supported the rally. I want to thank every single one of them. All the speakers did an excellent job across the board. They were all good. They were all excellent. The minibus drivers, the taxi drivers who work back and forth from Starbrook Market and around town to get people back and forth from the rally and everything. Some of them using their own gas and their vehicles free of cost and all. I want to thank you. That is what it takes. It takes a collective by all Guyanese. We are showing that we care for each other, and more so, we care about our country. Let's continue the momentum. I want to thank everyone for joining this program this afternoon. And listen, I think this was the third show. Yes, this was the third show for the year. I think I missed the first Saturday for the year. So this was the third show for the year. Let's keep the momentum going. I plan not to miss a show for the remainder of the year. So let's keep it going. And listen, you guys can inbox me if there's any topic that you want us to touch on over to you, or any type of development across the country that you would have gotten from a friend, a family member, or anything. Please inbox me, reach out to me. I'm always there. Again, my love to everyone watching this broadcast this evening, and my love to all my brothers and sisters in Guyana. Let's continue to stand strong together. Our time is up for this week, and I will see all of you. By the way, enjoy the remainder of your weekend. Try to do something nice with your families, but be safe. You're going to drive and you're going to be out in the highways and the byways. Please don't just drive for yourself, drive for others, because you might be driving carefully, but another person may not. So be sure to keep your eyes key on the road and peeled, okay, for pedestrians and for cars that are doing nonsense on the street. Okay, so until next week, I'll be on Straight Up. I'll see all of you guys. Take good care of yourselves and your family.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis C. Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.